about markets, obviously. But hey, we also love sports. We love music. And today I want to bring in a friend of mine, John from John's Syndicate. And I've known John for 13 years, and I'll let him kind of tell the story. But with everything that we've talked about this, with what's going on with Barstool kind of decentralizing, what's going on with ESPN, everybody now is a sports guru. Everybody's trying to sell you picks. Do you want to talk to somebody who actually knows what they're talking about? That's why we brought John on. John's been in this business, the sports business, for 34 years. And I'd like to get his take today on what he thinks about where the market's been, where it's going, and how the business is evolving of gaming, because gaming is now legal. Hey, John, make an introduction to yourself. Tell us.
Look, as you know, I've known you forever. It's been a lifetime. And how I found you is I love trading futures before the market's over. I told you, the stock market is a great complement to the betting markets if you live on the East Coast, or even if you live on the West Coast. But especially, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland right now. And so think about it. The market opens up at 9 a.m., closes at 4 p.m. There's a 3-hour break. And then at 7 p.m., everything breaks loose with the sports markets. You got games going from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast. So in terms of, I don't like to use the word action, but if you want to be in action, yes, if you're a futures trader, you can be in action 24/7 from Sunday at 6 o'clock. We all know to Friday at 5 o'clock. But if you want to turn on the TV and you want to have some fun, because let's face it, behind you, I have the ES screen up right now. It's boring to watch, right? I mean, if you're a trader, there's nothing, you're not going to get pumped up and be rooting because you just made 4 ticks. You know what I mean?
And today especially, we're consolidating after a big move up and a huge move down yesterday.
And even if you're a 1-point scalper like me, and I'm in and out, and it's still, no matter how much money you can make trading, and I love trading, as you know, my main website I contacted you from, daytradesports.com. You can get free information. There's nothing to sell on the website, or follow me at Instagram at John's Syndicate with 2 S's. I see that I typed it incorrectly. I missed the S on the screen. But here's the thing. What I already knew this when I contacted you over a decade ago, that I said, betting is like trading. Trading is betting. In essence, when you're betting or you're trading, what are you doing? Risk management. That's all you're doing. Risk management. Guys that blow up their accounts are the same guys, whether they blow it up in their futures account or their trading account, that will blow up their sportsbook account. Now, what's different is 27 states now have legalized wagering.
Okay.
27 states. That means over 50% of the United States is now Vegas. Now, I fly pre-COVID every month, 1 week a month, to my office in Vegas because Vegas was special. As of this last election, which we're not talking about any politics, but just in my state, Maryland, they voted to legalize sports wagering. So literally in a month, my Maryland that I used to have to get on a plane and fly to Nevada is Nevada.
Right.
If I drive 45 minutes north to Pennsylvania or Delaware, it's
all
already
legal.
in Nevada.
Yeah.
If I drive 45 minutes west to West Virginia, it's already in Nevada. So now DC came into the fray. Maryland came into the fray. So what happens is a lot of old school bettors were using local credit bookmakers. You have this influx of people that are already used to trading options, Forex, the markets, futures, that never wanted to work with Yo Vinny on the corner. Now, they just open up an app with a publicly traded company like FanDuel.
So let's talk about this. So FanDuel, DraftKings, PENN Gaming bought Barstool, which, we all know. So let's talk about how this business has evolved. And now ESPN, Bob and I talked about this yesterday on the show. They just let go of 300 more employees because nobody's watching the old school, enterprise value system. They're all watching 2 minutes, 2 seconds on Barstool. The content that they're pushing all day is driving the eyeballs, and the content then allows Dave Portnoy and all these guys at Barstool then to say, hey, pick Philly over the Giants this week, right?
Right, exactly. Correct. Exactly.
I mean, he's even moved his operations, John, to Philly, or
right.
Philly, while PENN is live, which is a smart move.
Right. And what you also have to understand is it's not only that. Hold on. Sorry, clients text me about games because there's 3 football games.
He's got the game on.
Which cricket game are we on this morning?
So what's interesting with is the TV announcers. Before they would hide it. You know, Al Michaels would say little things that only a sports bettor would be able to glean. But last Sunday night's a perfect example. Games nowhere close in terms of winner loser. The last drive, the underdogs driving, coming down the field. From a fan perspective, it means you would turn the game off. And he goes, well, the whole world is watching this last play because they're getting 10 points and they're down by 10 and they score a touchdown or a field goal. The underdog covers.
Everything switches, yeah.
The difference now is you can turn on ESPN, you can turn on all the local CBS, whatever. They just literally post the spread like it's part of the market. For my biggest thing for 35 years was being asked if I'm a bookmaker from people that did not know what I did for a living. So a non-gambler would say, oh, you're just a bookie. I'd say, no, I'm the guy you call before the bookie. I'm the guy that you get the games from before you call your bookie.
Right.
Now everybody understands that I'm no different than an analyst on TV. People pay us for the advice, the algorithms, the knowledge. And so what happens is I went from being perceived as something kind of like, undercover, which it never was undercover, to, oh, you're just one of those guys that sells picks. Big
Right.
difference in the psychology of how I'm viewed in my career.
Right.
Versus the old days where everybody just assumed I was taking bets.
So so here's where edge. What's your edge? You've been doing this for 34 years and we need to talk about that. If you're not new to this business, you don't survive for 34 years trading. I've been in trading for 31. You don't survive in the sports gaming business for 34 years without some edge. What is it that John's syndicate provides from a value perspective?
Oh, so from a value perspective,
right? What is it that I'm going to get from you?
I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I started working for a horse handicapping company 5 minutes from Pimlico Racetrack. Gambling is in our culture. Horse wagering is in our culture. I've been to every Preakness except this last one since I was old enough to walk. Obviously, there was no fans allowed this year because of COVID. And so initially, I got a job answering the phone as a clerk in a horse racing analyst firm when I was 15. The owner of the firm, who's no longer with us, also sold the lines. He made his own lines on the NFL games. And bookmakers paid him for the line, not selections.
Mm-hmm.
Now anybody can get the line. You can turn on the TV. So what happens, we come from a line making background where we basically make our own line against what the line is, because the line that you watch, the line that you view when you bet is not the true line. It's the line to get equal money on both sides of the market.
Right.
Most people don't know that. Let's talk about that a little bit, because just like Zoom, when it's trading 480, 481 bid, this is no different, right? The spread is all about Vegas. Let's use the old school Vegas, but it's about your book wanting equal amounts of money, 100 grand on the Giants and 100 grand on Philly. That way they win, right? That's their goal. Their goal is to get equal money without taking, unless they feel that their line gives them a risk, they may take a little bit of risk occasionally.
But so the professional betting markets bet early, and the gamblers that are not professionals bet the day of the game.
Right.
So for instance, 2 weeks ago, my group bet the Saints -2.5 on Monday for the Sunday game. Then they bet the Bears +5.5 the same day. My group had $30,000, won $30,000 on that bet, risking $1,500. Think about that. So we bet 16.5 minus.
So you made 20x on your money laid.
But the difference is the average person that doesn't subscribe to a service like ours is one-dimensional, and he's only worried about, and I love day trading, but for sports, it doesn't really work. He's only worried about betting the games that are on that day. He's not looking ahead. For instance, any NFL game that my group has bet, it's already been bet.
Right.
And it's Tuesday or next Sunday.
Right. Understood.
Now we can come back and we can add, we can take away, we can It's think of it like options, call and a put.
Yeah, no, you're spreading yourself on the market, and you're using.
In essence, the value that we bring to sports gamblers is we show them how to trade sports versus just putting on their pom-poms and rooting for a team. Also, with the introduction of second half wagering, we do a lot of second half wagering.
Well, I think that's the best bet out there, especially when it comes to the NFL, because you really get to see how Patrick Mahomes is playing in the first half. You're like, I don't think they're going to cover that. So I would.
So, like, let me just give you an example. Right now, and I have a radio show that I do in Las Vegas every Wednesday live on, just to plug it on 1400 AM if you live in Las Vegas. And, I'm going to go over these stats on this Wednesday, and I've been doing that show for 6-7 years. And here's the interesting thing. This is a wild year. So this year, only 3 years have underdogs in the NFL outperformed favorites. Usually it's about 50-50. I said in the beginning of the season that this will be the year of the underdogs in the NFL because of the absence of fans.
Right.
Right now, underdogs, the 3 winningest years of underdogs in the NFL was 2002. 75, 49, and 5. The dogs were 60%. So if you just blindly bet every NFL dog, you were 75 and 49. In 1999, you got to go all the way back to 1999. The dogs were 71 and 49, almost the same record, 59.2%.
Very strong, by the way.
But they had fans.
Yeah.
This year, going into week 10, underdogs are 77, 54, and 2. 58.8%. So if you just blindly bet every dog, also there's no defense. So this is the 3rd highest year with overs. You have to go back to 2010 where the overs were winning 57% of the time. And then 2016, this year, nobody cares because there's no fans. If you bet every over in every NFL game, you're 72 and 58.
Wow.
It's just the numbers, man.
You literally just have to say, well, I don't know anything. I don't want to pay a guy like me. Now I'm telling you right now. Now here's where it gets tricky. There's a 16-week NFL season. So if everything reverts to the mean, the line makers should adjust. Everybody that's late to the party will start betting all the dogs and all the overs. And all of a sudden at the end of the season, you're going to see, oh, it's 50%.
Okay. So you know that I use order flow. I use market profile. Right. What I'm hearing you say to me, Eric, is you use order flow and market profile because markets are always dynamic and per your suggestion, right? Now everybody knows bet the dogs, you win. You're late to the party. You missed that. You missed that bet. Matter of fact, I would almost take the opposite side, Eric or John, and say
gap up in the morning
and say it is the gap up. And now you want to take the favorites across the board from here on out.
If you're not going to spot play,
right,
and you're not going to pay someone like myself, and you just want to have a strategy of I want to spray the board with every bet, and the right thing to do right now is to flip the switch, bet all the favorites and all the unders now, because we already know that if you're sitting at 60%, I know this from tracking numbers. Basically, where we are at week 10 is about as high as we'll be after the Super Bowl. So if anything, we'll still be at 60%. And what we might be is even you might not even have an edge betting all the favorites. Right. You might be even. From this point forward, you might literally from week 10 to week 16, 6 weeks. So that you have 6 weeks. So if you just bet every favorite or every dog, the odds are really, if it doesn't go back down to 50%, you'll be 3-3, 3-3, 3-3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, all right, talk to
that volume. So they pay us so we can cherry pick out.
Yep.
Because they can't handle the volume.
Yeah. So you guys end up almost looking like a market maker and that you're able to see the book and kind of where money's being laid, obviously. And to me, that is price profiling. That's the same thing I do every day, right? If I see something spike up because, Pfizer comes out yesterday and says the world's going to be saved by December so everything goes crazy, but that's the high of the day because you're not going to get any better news than that today.
For an example, yesterday's game, we're doing this on November 10th. Yesterday's game, Monday Night Football, you had the 0-8 Jets against the 1-6 or 2-5 Patriots. The Patriots opened up at a 7-point favorite earlier the week prior, the Sunday night. The lines come out Sunday night after the NFL game. The game went shot to 10 as we don't know who, and that's another thing. When you're looking at market profile, you know that there's a very liquid market. When you see a line move on a game, you don't know who moved the line and why you don't know if that's public money or smart money. You don't know if that's one guy that bet $1 million or a million guys that bet $100,000.
Yeah. In other words, the liquidity is an issue, John, right?
Well, it's not even the liquidity. The liquidity is always there, but you're looking at block trades. It's the same thing. A block trade is a smart money trade. I'm less care about 100 people betting a game moving the number. I care about the one guy that came in and bet one big bet, because that's the block trade.
I'm curious, is there, in futures, we have a commitment of traders report, right? That comes out once a week. Is there any type of report like that kind of shows retail versus, whale?
Yeah, it does. It's called
whale money.
You call it order flow. We call it ticket flow. The sports books at the end of the week will put out the numbers of not only the amount of money, how they arrived at that number. So you take an example yesterday. The team's 0-8 straight up, the Jets. The line goes from 7 to 10. And then right before game time, it goes to 9.5. If you're watching this and you never pay for information, that's the move. The move is the dog. And of course, the dog covered and won outright. Lost by 3, excuse me.
They should have won outright, but
that's a whole other. But the spread was never in doubt. The Jets were covering from wire to wire.
Yeah.
So what happens is the pros actually had 2 tickets. They had 7 and they had 10, and they were looking for the 8, the 9, the 10, because you got to remember, you only need to hit once in a while, 1 out of 20 to break even. So they don't care that they juiced out on that ticket. But if you weren't trading the game, betting the early number versus the closing number, then you just bet the underdog, and you were just sat back and relaxed.
All right, John, I'm going to ask you a question here. I've been talking with Bob the last few weeks about how I thought that the gaming stocks had peaked for a while, and my reason being pretty simple. Price had gotten ahead of the market. All sports were on at once from July until October. Everything: football, baseball, hockey, all for those first, since July, right? Every sport was going on.
March 11th to July 26th, there was no games, and then on July 12th, I know the dates because I remember sitting there on March 11th, like, wow, they just canceled NBA.
Everything.
Right.
Right. But we also had this great run up in, PENN gaming.
It was 3. I don't know why I sold it at 6 like a hero.
Right. Right. You doubled your money and it went to 76. And here's the thing though. So I want your take on this, because we like to talk fundamentals. You're an analyst, so you're in the fundamental side of the game, and the way I look at it, I see yesterday's move again, a great selling opportunity right off the open. PENN spiked up to 75, 76, and then it proceeded to go down $17, went down to 58 yesterday. So bouncing a little bit today, back to 60, 63. But again, I believe, so I want to see a married story of fundamentals and my order flow. And the order flow looks really heavy to me right now. And if you just look at gaming, right, football's already halfway done on the pro side. There's no other sports now until at least January.
Not true. So let me correct you. So November 25th, college basketball starts.
There we go.
And December 25th, NBA restarts.
Okay.
So college basketball starts in 2 weeks.
Right. Okay.
Again, COVID, we don't know what will happen.
We don't know what the bubble looks like, if programs are going to be, missing games here and there, all that. Right.
So, for us, we already know that there'll be an appetite for that, because again, you got to also remember that there was yes, I had clients, we were wagering on Korean baseball, which it's great. You wake up in the morning, you cash or lose. International soccer never stopped. There's always a country somewhere that's playing. So we have a big global clientele. But in terms of the United States with PENN Gaming, they're not going to put up these sports books are not going to put up numbers on every little minuscule college. You have to go offshore if you want to get every soccer game.
Right.
So yes, that we knew that once they came back, it was going to be insanity, and the appetite was going to be there. And so now what'll happen is, the way they're arranging the schedules, today's a perfect example. We used to have college football on Saturday. Today's Tuesday. There's college football every single day.
Yeah.
3 games tonight, 3 games tomorrow, 3 games Thursday, 3 games Friday, the whole slate on Saturday.
Right.
So what they're doing is it's a business. They know that What's the point of passing regulations in 27 states to have legal sports wagering if there's no sports?
Right. So they're trying to have something going every day. So, okay, when you look at markets, small cap, mid cap, large cap, what is growing in the sports gaming business, in your opinion? Where are you seeing bettors coming in that you've never seen before?
I mean, everywhere and anywhere. It's now legal and blessed by the government. There's a lot of people that are very, and I'm not passing judgment, puritanical in nature, and would never open up an offshore account, would never have a local bookmaker. So it's just fundamentally, when you make it like the stock market, there's that ease of, now I'm betting with New Jersey and I live in Jersey. Now I'm betting in New Mexico or Colorado.
Well, at least your tax dollars are going to support the state that you live in.
So for an example, in Maryland, they passed a law with the whole marketing benefit of fund the public school system. That's a whole nother conversation. We know that money will never get there, but I'm just making the point that yes, but I talk to people that are very, how can I say it? They would never, these are the people that would bet when they went to the CES show in Vegas, and then they wouldn't bet till they went back the next year. Or they would only bet the Super Bowl and they'd call
they're casual players.
Right. So now
you're getting people playing year round.
Well, with that being said, you have a lot of guys, most of the people that are calling us are already have lost thousands before they call us because they thought, oh, it was easy. I was going to download this app on my phone.
Right.
And I'm just going to make money. Because I went to Michigan and I'm going to bet Michigan. Sorry, I had to do it once. Sorry.
Right. And they're crying terribly this year.
I took Michigan State when they were favored by 23. That was a layup. They got crushed. And the sucker line last week, Indiana was +3. I took Indiana. So no, I have no problem betting against my team.
But again, you're a guy that understands. It's the new guy that just opens up an account and went to Michigan and lives in Jersey now. He doesn't care about any of what you just said. He just wants to root for Michigan. So you have to talk people off being fans and betting against.
Well, it's like being a fanboy of Tesla, right? You can't.
It's not even about. I tell you what it really is like. It's like a trader that is long only and won't short. Right. So in order for you to bet against that, you're shorting Michigan.
Yeah.
While you love Michigan.
Right.
That's basically the psychology of a gambler. Like, I went to Maryland or I went to Ohio State. You don't ever ask me to bet against them. Okay, fine. And so watch them lose and make no money.
Right. So let me take a look
Your
at
choice.
John. Let me take a quick look at a couple charts here while we're talking, and then we can kind of get your closing thoughts here. PENN Gaming again is really, yesterday was a great opportunity, and we talked about it yesterday to sell the open, and that thing came off. So I won't spend a ton of time there. I want to also look at a couple more. I want to look at DraftKings, DKNG, and DraftKings. Again, had already sold off significantly from 64. It did not have the bounce again because of the Portnoy effect. Again, is real. I mean, that thing is real. It tested the highs again yesterday, but this thing only got up to 45 and it's pulled back to 40. So again, 10% haircuts.
A company that I don't want to give too much out, but I'm affiliated with Scientific Games. Do you have the?
Was it SGI?
No, it's SGMS.
So SGMS is a new name that I have not looked at recently. And again, it spiked yesterday, traded all the way up here to
back to March. It's insane. It basically followed the PENN path. So my office is in their office.
Yep.
And here I know better, and I don't own it, and I didn't want a conflict, so I've never owned it. Don't own it. Never going to own it. Full disclosure. But this is an amazing. They're about 5 minutes from the airport in Las Vegas.
I would imagine they make gaming devices for the legalized betting. What?
No, so they are the line makers. When you get the line to bet, they make the line.
Okay. What any other names that you focus on in the gaming? Let me look at Caesars real quick.
Yes, this one is amazing.
Hold on one second. Let me look at Caesars and Las Vegas Sands just to give a little color on Vegas. Again, this spiked a new high yesterday. Caesars went to 75, now sitting at 63. It looks bullish, but I would rather buy it down here in the 38s. That's the prime value area for me. So again, saw a new high for the year yesterday. Las Vegas Sands. also saw a new high for the year, and it traded up here to, what was it, 63-ish, and it's back again. I like the 45 area. If you can consolidate into there, I'd be a buyer again. 33, that's a double since COVID. Vegas is back though, isn't it, Eric? I mean, have you been back out there since?
One stock, go like, go out a longer time frame. Check this stock out. PDYPY.
Buy what?
PDY, sorry. PDYPY.
Flutter Entertainment.
Right. Look at the long-term chart.
Well, this is it. I mean, it went from 30 to 90 just during COVID. So that's a nice little run.
This is amazing. This is like all the offshore European money. And this is like, like if I was and again, I'm not a long-term investor. I'm a trader like you guys, but this one is the craziest. It literally never goes down. It goes down from a day trading point of view, but look at that long-term chart. What was the biggest pullback it ever had?
Maybe $10. Maybe $10. It doesn't. It's very illiquid. I'll warn people. Very illiquid. 9.6 thousand shares only traded daily. So this is only a long-term hold. If people want to get involved, it's valued at 27 billion. So it's not a small cap.
Oh no, this is serious.
But again, it's a basically an ADR. It's a American Depository Receipt. So it's a foreign company that trades here in the States. Is what the way I would explain it.
Somebody buy that at 30, and I was like, yeah. So again, you could, as a long-term investor, you can always say that. Like I said, what I'm hoping is, I just see it getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and with it being bigger, obviously you have more losers that are going to need more help. So it's going to benefit me because that's the nature. It's very hard to win, as you know, whether it's trading the markets or whether it's betting on sports. Right. Nobody said either one was easy.
Bob, you got any charts you want to look at in the gaming space?
Yeah, I just want to throw a, let me, that Caesar's chart, the weekly, this is from a candlestick perspective, Matt. And again, I don't look at a lot of candlesticks, but if we hold the week like this, that is just the most brutal candle that you could put in on the weekly.
It's a kiss of death. Yeah.
And so, again, there's a lot of trade left to go in the week for sure. But I mean, when you look at it from a candle perspective, if it closes here, we call that a doji. And then if we can't hold that momentum level on the weekly, 58.40 will probably come in around $59 next week. Think about all the people that you've trapped that week, which will be underwater if next week this thing heads lower.
Right.
Again, I don't pay a lot of attention to candle formations, except that exact formation right there, that doji candle, especially at new highs or new lows. It's absolutely brutal. It's like going up, 52-0 in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden you don't have a defense and you lose, terribly the rest of the game. I hate that candle. I wanted to ask you, John, because what happened in these gaming stocks, especially the brick and mortar ones, Caesars and Las Vegas Sands, that was there news out that caused this big pop? Or
so here's the thing, I have a lot of
it was Pfizer news, obviously, Bobby. Yesterday.
I mean, the answer is I have I basically live in Vegas 16 weeks a year, and I have more friends in Vegas than I probably have here in Baltimore, and I talk to them 5 times a day, 10 times a day, 20 times a day. The casinos are dead. Nobody sits in a sports book. So nobody, one of my business partners is an ex-professional poker player, made millions playing poker. You can only have 4 people in a poker game. He's not playing in that game. He's not playing in that game. He's not sitting there with 4 people where he's got to play every hand. Absolutely not. So it's very interesting to me to see, because in one essence, the stocks are exploding. You can drive up to the casino, you can run in, you can make a bet, you can walk out. There's no traffic, everything's easy. I don't see why the stocks are exploding, unless it's because of the online. They have the apps to bet sports, but in terms of those stocks don't encompass sports. Sports is a loss leader. You can go to Vegas, bet 100,000 on a game, they'll give you a free drink ticket. You go play blackjack for 5 minutes, you get a free room. So they don't care about the sports book. The sports book is like a loss leader for them. They stick the sports books in the back of the casino. And what they're hoping is as you walk through to the sports book, you stop at the roulette wheel, the crap table, the blackjack table, the baccarat table, and you lose your money on the way to the sports book. So the real fundamental money that these guys makes is from table gaming. And we're sitting, and you know, again, you're talking about table gaming. I don't want to sit and play poker for 3 hours like this. I can't read anybody's face. Right?
How are you going to get drunk?
It's true. No, I mean, Bob, can you imagine the pit with everybody wearing a mask? Oh my God.
It's ridiculous.
You couldn't do it.
The answer to your question is I would never short it, but I don't, unless you know you're intraday scalping. But I mean, the answer is I don't see it because I know that the people that I deal with that are professional run the biggest sports syndicates in the world have runners that literally run in and bet and run out. Nobody's staying and watching the games.
Yeah, I mean, I've said, check me on this thought process, John. The reason why those table games are so successful is because 98% of the people that sit down at them are undercapitalized. And so the casino doesn't have a 2% chance or 4% chance anymore. They got a 98% chance because there's no way this chump can last at a $10 craps table with $100 in his pocket.
One of my guys that I deal with in Vegas is a professional baccarat player, and his goal is to make 1% on his money a day. So literally he goes into the casino with 20 grand. The second he makes 200, he walks out.
Wow.
But you know what? That's $1,400 a week.
Exactly.
Not a bad gig. Just like picking the ponies.
But like he played the other day, he played 50 hands and however many. I asked him how he did, and he said he said he played one shoe and he was 23 and 18. So he was grinding. You know, so it's not like he won 21 hand and then got up and walked out. I mean, at some point, every shoe he's down and then he comes back. And this is just like trading, just like it's undercapitalization in any gambling is no different than a guy putting a 4-tick stop on a futures trade.
Right. I agree 100%. I mean, and we, you know, Matt and I talk about that all the time as these two worlds are so similar that your capitalization is one of the first things you should be thinking about. And if you can't enter into a contract with that proper ratio, you got no chance.
It even gets crazier in sports. So the biggest group that I deal with in Vegas bets $1 million a week. Their goal is to make 4% on their money. That's it. They spin that $1 million. Wrap your head around it. They spin bet $1 million and they're happy with making how much a week? 4%?
But 4% a week over 52 weeks is a freaking large number.
Well, you know, it's not equal. It's not 4% every week. One week they win 16%.
Right.
They lose 20%. But I'm just making the net average. When you talk to a guy on the phone and you say, and he goes to Vegas with 10 grand, and I tell him, and he's like, I get guys all the time that are what I call California dreaming. They drive from LA to Vegas for the weekend.
Want me to sing it for you?
Yeah, but I have a lot of guys that do that. They leave and they go for the weekend and to bet NFL, and then they come home. And I'm taking 10 grand with me, John. I said, what's your realistic goal? You know, I like to make 5-10 grand. I go, you know, a pro wants to make 400.
Right.
Pro wants to make 400. It's very
hey, folks,
hard.
This has been great, and we're going to be having John back on a regular basis, not long form like this, but we're going to pop him in at least once a week for 5-10 minutes. We appreciate you coming on. I want to be.
Hey, John, I got one more question. Quick. The line that moved 10 to 9.5. How much does that stimulate your memory glands of the racetrack and horse racing when those things at the very end, just before the post, and you see a line move, you're running for the window.
And the hardest thing not to go overboard, the hardest thing about the horse racing is you only get paid on those closing numbers, where at least with the sports bet, you bet it and you get to keep those odds.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well,
fantastic stuff, John. Thank you so much
for joining us. You can find John at John's Plural Syndicate on Instagram, probably the best place. Daytradesports.com is also a place you can find John. If you have questions, give him a call. I don't have the answers. He's the pro, not me. So thanks for coming on, John. We'll have you on regularly. We look forward to it. And as always, bet against Michigan.
Have a good day.
Yours. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, did we go over too long? Sorry, bro.
Hang on one second.
No way.